Welcome to Realeconomy. 20 years ago, these new euro coins and notes first appeared across the continent. 2 decades on, we're asking, what has the single currency meant for our economies? The euro had existed for 3 years before that, although only in electronic form. It was here at the Paris Mint, the historic Monnaie de Paris, which dates back to the 9th century, that the first euro coins were issued here in France in 2002. It was the beginning of a new era. Coming up, Fanny Goré is in Ireland, one of the first countries to adopt the euro, to see what's changed for businesses there. First, here's your crash course on how the euro has evolved. On January the 1st, 2002, euro coins and banknotes were first introduced in 12 European countries, replacing the local currencies. 20 years later, 19 countries and more than 340 million Europeans use the euro. The aim of the euro was to make life simpler, using the same currency for work and business throughout the euro area, and for travel and living abroad. It's now the second most important currency after the US dollar, and 60 countries and territories outside the EU also use it or link their currency to it. Over the next few years, 3 more European countries are set to adapt the euro. With the arrival of the euro, people no longer had to exchange currency for business or travel within the eurozone. Fanny Goré is in Ireland to find out what 20 years of the euro has meant for businesses there.
Just 20 years ago, 12 European countries celebrated the introduction of the single currency. Here in Ireland, Irish pounds were exchanged for euro coins and notes. Today, in the Eurozone, we're used to travelling and shopping in the same currency. But 20 years on, beyond this practical aspect, how has the euro changed the Irish economy and businesses? To answer these questions, I'm with Oana Peia, economist at University College Dublin. For her, Ireland is a success story, with growth rates among the strongest in Europe.
Adopting the euro has been important in consolidating Ireland's place in the single market, has attracted a lot of foreign direct investment, which now accounts for 20% of employment, and has increased intra-EU trade, which now accounts for 40% of Ireland's exports.
But for Oana, Ireland's story is also a cautionary tale. Cheaper credit in a badly regulated market led ultimately to the 2008 financial crisis.
Recovery from this crisis has been painful. Since then, Ireland's recovery has been equally impressive, with the economy growing at an average of 5% from 2012 to just before the pandemic.
Ireland's economy has grown in technological sectors such as pharmaceuticals and medical products, which account for 38% of Irish exports. Near Galway, I visit Aerogen, founded 20 years ago and now a leader in high-performance aerosol drug delivery. John Power is the CEO.
Our currency, the punt, would have been a small currency in Europe, and we were obviously vagaries in exchange rates would have had a big impact on Irish businesses. So the euro has settled all that down.
Today, the company employs 400 people and its products used in intensive care units are exported to more than 75 countries.
Our internal market's quite small, so European market is obviously very attractive to us and the US, whereas 5 years ago it would have been about 30% of our business would have been traded in euros, 70% in dollar. It's now in the last 2 years moved more to a 50-50.
Focused on international horizons, Aerogen hasn't suffered from the effects of Brexit, unlike more UK-dependent sectors such as agriculture, but Oana believes Irish businesses can adapt.
Brexit, despite the fact that has caused a huge disruption on the Irish economy, it has created a lot of opportunities, and I think there's still a lot of scope to increase trade with the European Union.
According to Eurobarometer, Ireland is the country with the second highest level of trust in Europe, a sign that the Irish continue to believe in the Union and its single currency.
Well, from one cafe in Dublin to another in Paris, thank you. And 20 years ago, as people were getting used to a new currency, this little machine helped people convert from euros to francs to help them understand the cost of a cup of coffee. We're looking to the future. The idea of a digital euro is now being discussed. To talk all things euro, I'm meeting the president of the Eurogroup, which is where finance ministers of the Eurozone countries meet together. Great to have you with us here on Real Economy.
Great to be on. Thank you very much.
We've had the financial crisis, now the pandemic. What's your assessment of the euro's resilience?
Can't always claim we got everything right immediately when we were responding back to them. But they are nonetheless tests that the euro did pass. And if you look at now the speed with which the euro area has recovered from the COVID-19 crisis, the speed of recovery is around 4 times quicker than it was from the global financial crisis.
20 years of euro cash. What difference has the euro made to ordinary Europeans' lives?
Well, I think it's the practical day-to-day benefits are the ones that are perhaps the most tangible. The inconvenience, even the challenges at times of changing currency. And it's easy to forget now, but for a good bit of the history of the pre-euro part of the European Union, significant exchange rate volatility was a test that previous governments and previous businesses faced.
We're now looking at a digital euro. And where are plans for the digital euro at the moment?
So the ECB, the European Central Bank, are now moving ahead with what I would describe as exploratory design work. My own hunch is that if you and I were sitting here again in 20 years more time, I think it's pretty likely that by that point we'll be thinking about the digital euro.
What do you see as the main challenges ahead for the euro?
Something that is a challenge for the euro area, and therefore it really matters to the euro, is how we can have a recovery, for example, which benefits young people, which does more to ensure that women come back into the workforce as we see new work patterns begin to establish themselves, that it's an inclusive and that it's a fairer recovery. I want the euro to be a long-term signal and symbol of a Europe that matters, that's resilient, that always is better than its recent history and is always charting a better future.
Minister, many thanks indeed.
Thank you very
for being
much
with us on Real Economy.
Thank you.